What's up, survivalist Jason here. Today I'm going to show you how to cut rope without a knife. When you're out here in a survival situation, things happen. And sometimes you could lose your knife or forget to bring one altogether. But you're not out of luck when it comes to getting the right size of piece of cordage that you need. You got to find stuff out here in the wilderness or find stuff that's on your person. So let's go around and see what we find to get the right size of cordage that we need. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about are the things you already have on your person. The one thing you'll definitely already have on your person when it comes to cutting the cordage is the cordage itself. So one thing about the different materials when it comes to like natural materials like the cotton or jute twine, those are a little bit easier because they're all pretty much one bound thing. But when it comes to like paracord, it has a bunch of strands inside, the plastic casing around it. You have to go through multiple things at a few different levels. So I'm going to show you a few methods on how to cut the cordage with itself. So one method that I like to do when it comes to paracord or some type of casing with strands inside of it is to use your feet. So take out the amount that you need. All right there. Tie them to your feet. You can just use a simple little granny knot or double granny knot if you like. Doesn't really matter as long as it stays on your foot. When it comes to your second one, it's still attached to the long side. Make sure to grab the whole bundle because you're going to be tying it all together right there. So you got that whole thing right there. Wrap it around. All right, and once you got both of these tied on, put your whole bundle through one side. Make sure you have enough to pull on each side. And then make it so you're riding a bike. Make sure you keep it, sometimes rolling your hand around this to give you some grip on each side. And then just go up and down with your feet. Sometimes you could grab a little hand rest if you like. Try to give you some grip so it's not wearing on your hands. And try to give it your best. There we go. And you cut your cordage. One thing that I like to use when it comes to the smaller variety, this could work on either the natural material or the plastic material. So some of the smaller stuff, you just wrap it around a branch, cross it over so it lays on itself, get yourself a good grip on it, and keep pulling on itself so it rubs against itself. And there we go. Got a cut piece. Another method is to use a tree, so wrap it around the tree, get the length of rope that you need, tie it off, make sure it's a knot that doesn't slip. So you got it right there. Then take your running end, put it through the loop, make sure it is on the opposite side that you tied it, or you're going to end up with like a piece like that because it's just cutting off the knot. So gotta make sure that it is actually on the right side that you tied it on. Hold it on each end like this, not on the other side. Hold it really tightly and then keep pulling. And that is a nice length of rope right there. Let's see if I did it right this time. There we go. There is your piece of rope. So another item you're most likely going to have on your person already is a lighter. I like to take out lighters sometimes because it's quick and easy fire, but when you have one, you can definitely get these pieces apart. So all you really need to do is hold the pieces in between your fingers and keep a flame underneath that spot that you need it to be separated. So keeping a steady flame on it, blocking out the wind. Kind of spread it apart a little bit. Gives it a nice melt in between right there. And plus, it burns out the ends, so you don't have to worry about it fraying. Another item that some people might bring out is some type of magnifier. You either have these like compasses that have a magnifying glass on it, or you can actually bring out an actual magnifying glass. Some people like to bring them out for like little fire kits and stuff like that, but this can definitely cut through rope. So let's find a nice sunny area, a little backboard so you can actually aim, and let's get this rope cut. There we go. So when you're trying to find a nice backboard, you're going to make sure it's something that can move, because you don't want it to have stationary and the sun is pointing this way, because that's not going to be the most accurate and most hot of beam that you get. So gotta make sure they can point straight at the sun. Get your length of rope, whatever you need. Place it on top. Sometimes you can just wrap it around. Get yourself a nice beam. And there you go. A cut piece of rope. And a bonus is it burns off the ends, so it won't fray. Let's try a few other materials. This is a simple little poly rope that I got from Walmart. And this one's a little bit faster because it doesn't have any strands inside. It's easier to melt. Sometimes you might have a situation of just a simple little thread, one thread, but you could easily just rip it off. But when it comes to natural material like jute twine, it doesn't really burst up into flames what you would think. It's usually the fluffed up part of it that would actually burn up. But this does still kind of singe off the ends, so you got to watch out for that. There we go. We have two pieces of that, and then sometimes you have them snuffed out to get rid of that piece of char so it doesn't burn up at all, and it's just a nice way to get that piece all done. But this is so easy, you could just rub it against a rock to rip it apart. So speaking of rocks, let's start talking about the stuff you'll find out here in nature. So rocks are going to be pretty prevalent out in the wilderness. So some of the things you might want to look out for are little riverbeds, creeks, anything like that. So you can find chert, flint, any of those sharp pieces that you can make into a cutting tool. So this is a piece of flint, I believe, and I've just kind of chipped away inside the middle right there, left a little crease so it's a little easier to keep the rope or string inside of that little crevice. So let's start out with some small string. When it comes to this, hold it inside and hold it right there. Just kind of wiggle it in place, and it just quickly cuts right there. And you could do this as many times as you want. So when it comes to the paracord, it does take a little bit longer, but it could definitely be done. And I don't really have that big of pieces of flint or chert that I could find out here, so this is what I had to make do with. So you can see right there, it's already coming apart. When it comes to the inner strands, I'm gonna make sure to grab onto the inner strands because the casing is gonna keep slipping, and then it's not gonna keep in one spot to cut the actual middle strand, inner strands I mean. So right there, hold on to those. There we go. Got a cut piece of paracord right there. So one thing you're bound to find out here in wilderness is other people's trash. And sometimes you have some metal pieces that you can find or glass bottles. I think glass bottles will definitely be the winner when it comes to finding something out here to cut with because it's very sharp. So take with caution when you're breaking this into a cuttable piece, and sometimes even having a wrap around it as well can help to kind of keep it all together so you're not cutting yourself. So I'm gonna put it inside of my camera case and it collects all the glass pieces. And you definitely want to be careful when it comes to this and holding it. So sometimes taking the end of the bottle right here can definitely help out. Let me get my paracord. So having a piece like this, take whatever size that you need. Sometimes it could need a little bit of a sharpening, so pretty much just flint knapping, but usually it's sharp enough all by itself to actually cut it. So there's my video on how to cut cordage without a knife. If you know any other methods or tips on how to cut cordage in a survival situation, please leave them in the comments down below. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to thank you all for watching. See you in the next one.